What's up, everybody? We're going to be quickly going through the notes on triangles and inequalities. Basically, you want to think about this as a really easy topic, something that you're going to, every time you use triangles for the rest of your life, you want to keep this in your mind. And it is that there is a ratio between each angle of a triangle and the side across from it. Okay, now, again, if something that we were kind of doing yesterday is thinking about a triangle and this angle and this side that are on opposite sides of the triangle, that they're kind of buddies, okay, and that they're related to each other. Same thing with this green side and this green angle, right? They're opposite, they're kind of buddies, they're kind of like brothers, they're related to each other, and they affect each other. If the green angle shrinks, then the green side shrinks. Or if the green angle grows, then the green side grows. Now, what that means is that the longest side is across from the largest angle. Basically, it's just big matches with big. Of course, that means that the smallest side is across from the smallest angle. And of course, that the middle side is across from the middle angle. So we can go through this really quickly. We don't even need Desmos unless you get into a thing where you really want to kind of be tight and check out the angles are. It says list the sides in order from longest to shortest. So I'm going to do it like this: large, medium, small. I'm going to do my symbols like this so that the alligator eats the big one here. And I want to put these in order. Now, sometimes you might have to figure out what they are. That's a 55, a 35, and a 90. And so 90 is the biggest. Now it wants me to list the sides, and so if 90 is the biggest, then this is the longest side. Now that could be written as AB. It could also be called BA, but it doesn't matter too much, okay? Then the middle is 55, and so the middle is this side over here. I could call it BC or I could call it CB. Doesn't matter too much. And then the shortest side, if 35 is the smallest, then this is the smallest. And so I'll say AC. Now when you write it like this, if you're not listening to me, it doesn't look like it makes any sense. It's just a whole bunch of random letters here. But if you're actually following along, we're just putting them in order. It's really not too bad. Now here's what I'm saying when I was saying that you may need Desmos just for this, trying to figure out, okay, I don't know what this third one is here. I think it's probably bigger than 67, but it might be a little close. And so I can use a calculator and just do my 180 trick. Let me see here, let me make so you can see it. 180 minus 67 minus 28. So the third side is gonna be 85. It asks me what is the longest side. Okay, well, the longest side, here's my big angle, so here's my big side, and I would call that RQ. Again, the biggest angle should not touch the biggest side, right? They're opposite. So it's not this and it's not this, right? It's got to be opposite. Okay, list the sides of PRQ in order from shortest to longest. Small, medium, large. I'm going to make sure that the alligator is eating the large, so I'm going to make sure to face my triangles that way this time. I know that this one is 90. I know that I have this angle and this angle, which have the same arc in them, so these should both be 45. So it says put them in order from shortest to longest. Well, the shortest is 45, but it's also 45. I kind of have a tie here. Now, it's easy for me to tell that 90 is the biggest. That's from P to R. These other two, okay, I know that this one is opposite of 45, but this one is also opposite of 45. I kind of have a tie for these two sides. So maybe instead of calling it small, medium, large, I could kind of change it, and I could call them small, small, because they're both small, right? It's like a tie. Maybe instead of using a less than sign, I could put an equal sign in the middle. And so this one, QR, and this one, PQ, these two are equal. And that one is bigger. So it's kind of like I've got two smalls and a large. Let's look at this last one. List the sides in order from longest to shortest. So long, medium, small. Alligator eats the large, alligator eats the large. Now for this one, I've got 60, 60, 60. The vocab word that we learned yesterday is equilateral, right? Maybe if I'm doing this, I should have labeled this one as isosceles. Now this is equilateral. It literally is equilateral. All the sides are equal. Okay, I mean, we have 60 and 60 and 60. They're all equal. I'm not going to have large, medium, small. And I'm not going to have greater than. I'm just going to have AB is equal to AC is equal to BC. They're all the same. Okay, don't let this, seem hard to you. We're literally just trying to put them in order. The hardest thing that could possibly happen is that they're all the same, which really is not nearly as hard as it may sound. All right, so let me go a little faster here. List the sides of PRQ in order from shortest to longest. So this reminds me of the homework from yesterday. This is an isosceles triangle. So 2x and 2x. These are angles, so they add up to make 180. I can go to Desmos, I can calculate this. X is equal to 35. Now that tells me that I'll have a triangle that is 40, 70, 70. Now if I want to list them from shortest to longest, the shortest angle is 40. Let me label these again. So if the shortest angle is 40, then the short is going to be RQ. And then I kind of have a tie because I have 70 and 70. So now I kind of have two that are the largest. I kind of have no middle. I've got my PQ, and I've got my PQ, that's this one over here, and then I've got this one, which is PR. And those two are equal to each other, right? So maybe I set it up, make sure that the alligator eats the largest one. Now this one says to list the angles in order of smallest to largest. Small, medium, large, angle, alligator eats the large. And again, it says smallest, so 5 is the smallest. That means B is the smallest. 7 is the middle. That's going to be A. And 13 is the largest. 13, I'm supposed to be writing a C here. Whoops. Let's go a little faster here. What is the smallest angle in CBA? Well, the smallest angle is A. Now a good idea is just always label it, right? You don't have to do any Desmos. You hardly have to do any work for these questions. So just write them down, right? That doesn't take too long to do. List the angles of ABC in order from largest to smallest. Well, I see that I have boom, boom, boom. I see that I have an equilateral triangle here. That means that they are all the same. Listing the angles, that means that A is equal to B is equal to C. What is the largest angle? Well, this one I'm gonna need to do a little bit of work for, okay? It's not very clear which side is the biggest. I'm gonna need to do Desmos. I'm gonna need to come up with a calculation. I'm gonna need to find X. Once I find X, I'm gonna need to plug it all back in. Basically, what we're learning today hardly really counts as like a whole skill, right? What we're learning today is just like a little bit of an extra skill. And so the hardest thing they can do to make a question, difficult is basically just make us use the work from yesterday. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is try to come up with a little equation here. These are sides, not angles, so they're not a 180. I do see that I have this and this, which means that this side is equal to this side. So I'm first gonna set up that those two sides are equal to each other. So the first formula that I'm going to use is 4x plus 9 is equal to 7x minus 21. And I'm not really going to use this 6 at all. 4x plus 9 equals 7x minus 21. Subtract 4, that's 3x, that's 30, that's x equals 10. Now I'm going to need to take this 10 and plug it in so I can figure out which one's which. Okay, up top here, that's going to be 7 times 10 minus 21. That's going to be 49. This is going to be 6 times 10 minus 5. That's going to be 55. And this is going to be 4 times 10 plus 9. That's going to be 49. Now, I already knew that these two were going to be the same. I already had kind of figured that out. It's 49, 49, and 55. So what is the largest angle? It would be this one. The largest angle is angle A. And lastly, if the perimeter of angle ABC is 48, the perimeter, a little bit of an honors question here. Perimeter means the sum around the sides, adding up all the sides. And if adding up all the sides is equal to 48, again, this is a bit of an honors question, but that would be that 48 is equal to 2x plus 5x minus 1 plus 4x plus 5. Add up all of them and they should be equal to 48. 2 plus 5 is 7, plus 4 is 11 x's. Add 1, that's 49. Subtract 5, that's 44. 44 is equal to 11x. Divide it. I'm getting x is equal to 4. Okay, now I need to take this 4 and plug it in. So that's 2 times 4, which is 8. That's 5 times 4 minus 1, which is 19. And that's 4 times 4 plus 5. That's going to be 21. So it says from largest to smallest. Large, medium, small. Alligator eats the large. The largest one is 21, is A. The middle is 19, it's B. And the smallest is C. All right, that's the end of the notes for today. Don't overcomplicate things. On the homework, the only thing that you might see that is a little bit different is a question like this where it says TUV, and it does not actually kind of give you the triangle for free. So, you might want to go ahead and label this as TUV. It doesn't matter where they go. UV from U to V is 17. TV from T to V is 14. And TU from T to U is 9. That means that the smallest is 9, the medium is 14, and the largest is 17. But it wants you to know ordering the angles. And so what I need to do is say, well, 17 is opposite of T, and 14 is opposite of U and V. I always hated questions with U's and V's because they look so similar. If you really want a little bit of a pro tip here, UV UV is opposite of the letter it doesn't have. UV is opposite of T, and TV is opposite of U, and TU is opposite of V. Whatever letter it's missing, that's the letter that it is opposite of. All right, all finished. Hope this helps.